Good morning. We just were woken up by a, what do you call that? Like the
good morning music.
Definitely the good morning music, and it was over like the loudspeakers that go throughout the city. They were just playing the song that goes do 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 do. So this entire town that we're on the outside of, like, rocks out to that at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right. And then, like, right as that started, like, some cannons went off. I don't know what's going on in this city, but it sounds really exciting. We're up and we're just gonna get the day started, but I definitely needed to add that to this video because it was just bizarre. I have to go pee really badly, and while I did that twice on the side of the road in the middle of the night, that was fine because nobody was coming. But right now, these old people keep walking by, so there's no way that I can go to the bathroom. Eric has decided that those cannons started some sort of old people race, and the music, I don't know what the music was, just a celebration that old people like to race. So yeah, hopefully one of them wins and I can use the restroom soon. One thing we have to know about Barney's wife is what she sounds like, and she actually just scared me because I leaned into the horn, but this is what Barney's wife sounds like. I think she might be a dude.
How'd you sleep last night?
I slept okay. Our slant was a little bit not perfect, but I did fall asleep, and we woke up at like 6:43 and I was convinced it was 10 o'clock. So that means that I got definitely enough sleep. And then we slept until 9 o'clock, and now it's, no, that says it's 8:38. What time is it? I have no idea what time it really is.
This month says 8:38 as well.
Woohoo! Made time! Wow! I can't really say that Yamanashi is stunning, but I can say that it's beautiful. I have really enjoyed being out and seeing the mountains. All the mountains. I think they're mountains. They could just be hills. But I've really been enjoying seeing these hills or mountains that are covered in trees. It's a very nice break from being in Tokyo, which I love Tokyo because it's got mountains of buildings, but this is something really, really nice just to be able to breathe.
We're in a little town and I have no idea the name of it, but we slept just right outside of it, and like Katie said earlier, there was music and then cannons and then like joggers, or not joggers, but old people walking up hills. Like what's going on in this place? It's very confusing. But we came down the hill and we parked at this place that we're gonna go do an activity at in a few minutes here, and there were fireworks that went off in the background, but it's like, you know, the middle of the morning, like it's like 9 in the morning now, and they're shooting off fireworks. So like, what is happening? My guess is maybe they're gonna have like a fireworks display maybe tonight or something, and maybe they're practicing. I don't know. So we walked over to where we thought the fireworks were coming from, and there are no fireworks happening anymore, and we don't see any evidence of fireworks ever happening. But we've got a pretty cool place for breakfast, and at that the Oishigako, the delicious school place that we had dinner at last night, we had picked up some of the bread from their breadery. It's called
a bakery.
A bakery, yeah. At the breadery, from the breadery. So we got some bread, and it's got like little grains in it, and it's pretty good. It's like really got a good like bread thing going on.
It's got a good fluff.
It's got a good fluff. It's fua. And yeah, the view sitting here. This is a pretty good breakfast place. I would recommend coming here with the fluffy bread and the not fireworks and everything. It's a very nice place.
We've come to this craft center, and you can do a lot of things with paper here. So basically what you do is you make your own paper. And what I've decided to do is to make a lantern, and it's basically there's a base that has a light on it, and then they put the paper that you make around it, so the paper is then lit up, and it looks really, really beautiful. I have decided to kind of go with a fall collection, maybe. They have real leaves. Like, they've pressed all of these leaves, and you can put them on your on your paper. It's really cool. And they kind of just left us in here, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna trash the place and run. But, gotta wait till my paper dries. I've laid down all of the leaves, and then they want you to cover them with more of the paper so that the leaves will be adhered and they won't just fall off once it dries. But the consistency of the paper stuff looks like snot. It is not a very attractive art. I've started using like the colored paper, like this is the exact same thing as the clear stuff we were using before, but they've put red paint into it. So I started using that, and you can't be exact about it at all. So it's kind of just go for it and see what happens. You couldn't, like, I'm sure some people can do a better design than I can with this because they've had more time with it. But I'm kind of just like, all right, I hope that doesn't look like crap. Cool. You gotta clean it out if you want to use a new color. We're just basting is what we're doing. We're basting. And I'm trying to do kind of a sunset. Ooh, wow, looks like eggs. A little bit of a fart, and we're off. When you take the colors and put it on, it's still like this very thick paper mix. And it slowly drips. You can actually hear it dripping into the tray, and that's the water leaving the mixture and only leaving the paper particles that are going to stay and dry. I finished my idea, and I call it Fall Festival. It's going to be the name of it. It's Fall Festival. Yeah. And hopefully it looks good when it's dry, and if it doesn't, then we'll throw it away.
They've taken Katie's lantern and they put it into some like big drying machine, and I can't tell if it's drying with like lamps, like what you would do to keep like food at McDonald's warm. You know, not McDonald's, they don't do that, do they?
Heat lamps.
Heat lamps, yeah, like the heat lamps at like a fast food restaurant, or if it's like blowing air, or maybe a mixture of both. But it's this giant box that's somehow making her lamp dry. And this place does more than just those lamps. You can do all sorts of different things. And the outsides of the building are decorated with all of these different these paintings that people have done. They're like postcard-sized paintings, and a lot of them are really cool. So it's like this like watercolor-looking painting, and then they've done Japanese calligraphy like around it. And some of the things people have written is like fairly prolific and like seems to have meaning. And some of it, like I think one of them said something like, "This is my first time doing this." I think that's what they wrote in like this like amazing looking Japanese calligraphy. "This is my first time." So it's not all like
somebody wrote, "I like Goya." Yeah,
somebody wrote, I love Goya. So some of it seems like a little bit from the heart, and some of it just sounds like people were having fun with it. And there's a bunch of various different ones, but my personal favorite is this amazing looking pug here. And like, I just love the composition of that, how the person didn't, but they made it so big and in his face. It's just beautiful. I think it's amazing.
My favorite is the photo bomb by the owl. Yesterday was a little bit cloudy. As we were going around and doing activities and eating lots of food, I noticed you can't really see too far in the distance, so it's a little sad that maybe the weather wasn't going to be that great this weekend, but we've just found Mount Fuji. And the sky, there is not a cloud out today. I am impressed. Good job, nature. But Mount Fuji's hanging out in the background over here. It might be a little hard to see on the camera, but we can see it. It's awesome. We're driving to a pear farm, and on the way we passed by a sports complex, and you immediately think like soccer, baseball, and we saw people playing soccer and playing baseball, and we just kept driving because, you know, people do that. But then right down the road there's an archery range, and I'm talking like old school badass archery, not like
what archery is not badass?
I mean, like okay, archery's just badass. Like, I guess I'm saying, like, it's not like little kids. It's like these adults in the full-on garb with the mega arrows and whatnot. And so they're it is a competition. They're giving out scores and such, and it just is awesome. We both wanted to try it, and I don't think we'll get to because we're on the other side of the electric fence. But maybe someday. We've been invited into the inner ranks, and they've given us chairs and asked us to sit and told us that pictures are okay, and we were sitting in that car over there looking like creeps, but now just Barney's wife looks like a creep and we look like elite. Seeing this close up and sitting on the grassy knoll of this peaceful sport just feels really good. And we're watching some dudes that have probably been doing this for decades, and they're, wow, and they're badasses. Just downright so much cooler than I am. Don't worry, it didn't go past the jacket. But apparently I landed myself in some danger. They actually don't seem like prickly. They seem like, hitchhikers. In America we have little ones, they don't look anything like this, but we call them hitchhikers. So these are just hitchhikers, they're not like spikes or anything. So they're not painful at all. So it turns out that I took a wrong turn going to the archery place. We wanted to go to the pears, but we ended up at the archery place, and that's totally fine with me. But we got back into the van, and the van just started taking us up this mountain. And I thought, when we got out of the van at the archery place, we were only like maybe a kilometer away from the pears. The GPS is rerouting us around a very large hill because it will not tell us to take a U-turn. It's like you could take a U-turn and it would only be a kilometer away, but instead we're going to take on this half-an-hour ride around this mountain. No, we're going to make a U-turn. I'm glad we figured it out, but we've actually ended up here and we can have an excellent view of Mount Fuji, and we're going to have a little snack before we get back in the van and go in the right direction.
Echo. It's amazing. So we've come up to this fruit farm, and the fruit farm has something called La France, like La France, and it's a pear, and sometimes they get really big. It looks like a Western style pear, like a big green, almost kind of that pear shape, but kind of like clumpy in weird ways. But we wanted to come up here and do picking, but apparently the picking, because of the time of the year, isn't so good. So they pick them and you wait a month, and then like they're soft enough to eat. So he was like, you gotta picking right now isn't so good. So but you can buy them in the little like warehouse-ish looking shop that they have, and they also have samples. So this is a sample of some La France. I really like this fruit. The name is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So there's two different kinds. So that's La France, and the other one is, it's not La France, it's some different type of pear. So I'm going to try that one as well. So that one was not super sweet. The texture is really good, like it kind of melts in your mouth. That tastes like this other one that I've tried tastes like a really just like an American pear, like what I'm thinking about. And the flavor is really encompassing, really good, really interesting. So I think we should probably buy a couple of these things for the road. So
Expensive.
Get down on these. They're a little expensive, but they're huge and they're really delicious. And they're like basically, they're from a farm. You can't beat it.
So the pear buying experience was a bit full on. And it kind of feels like a bit of a car salesman in a way, kind of the hard sell that's coming at you. But the reason that it feels like a hard sell is because of the language barrier. Our Japanese is not fruit-oriented Japanese, it's conversation-oriented Japanese. How you doing? I like stuff, anything, fill in the blank. It's conversational, not fruit-oriented, like this fruit's from here, or this fruit is astringent, or so language plays into it. And then on top of it, when you go to one of these fruit stalls, they want to show you everything they can show you, tell you everything they can tell you about that fruit. And they would do that for Japanese people, and they're going to do it for us as well, but they're going to do it. This guy was doing pretty good in English. Like, he was popping out stuff that was really helping us, so that was really good. But even if he spoke no English, he would be doing the same sell in full-on Japanese. So I was happy that he spoke English. In the end, we tried pretty much every fruit that they had there, I think, except for one. They brought out extra fruits and juices and stuff. We got the full gamut of hospitality at that place. They were really nice people. We ended up going with one of the best pears that they had. And I'll give you some prices. This little guy right here, he's not that little. This was the best flavor that we found while we were there. It is a French, the seeds originate from France, but it was grown on that farm. So it's a French pear, and he tastes amazing, and he was 350 yen for this one guy. That's a bit expensive for us. Normally we wouldn't even buy pears because pears are expensive, but for the experience, I'm going to eat this and I'm going to think of that guy and his wife and them just really trying hard to give us a taste of the world that they live in. Like, that's what the hard sell with them is. It's not buy this, experience this, understand this is what I do. And that's really cool. So this is kind of, even though we're going to eat it, it's like the souvenir we're taking with us that will go in our bellies. We also tried their persimmons, kaki, and fantastic. So good. And normally for this amount of kaki, you wouldn't get ones that were this big for the price that I pay, but I think we paid 600 yen for these 3. And normally for this amount of kaki at the supermarket, I'd probably pay about 400 yen. And they would be nowhere near the quality. It would just be like, oh, these are really good. These are going to be great. And I already know that. It's just, they're the freshest thing in the world. And on top of that, his lovely wife saw that I was so excited about eating the pears that they had that were American version pears. They're still grown on their farm, but the American seeds, she was like, have this so that it can remind you of home. So they gave us a little present on top of that, and that's just Japan. Presento. So nice. We've come back to the handmade paper place. We're still not sure what to call this, but we're making handmade paper here. And we've got my lovely lantern that has been made. They took my paper and they've affixed it around a lamp. And we're going to be lighting it up for the first time. I hope it's fantastic. I was going for a bit of a sunset into night feel during the fall. Nailed it. We punched in some coordinates into Barney's wife, and she wasn't being a jerk, so she didn't try to take us around a mountain to get somewhere. And we've ended up in this little village. We drove for like, I'd say 10 minutes up a really windy road, and I was like, this is just going to take us to the top of a mountain, and there's going to be some guy just laughing at us when we get up there. But it brought us to this little town that's just plopped right at the top of this hill, and it's just a cluster of little houses. And among the cluster is this old kind of make-it-yourself type restaurant. They'll actually teach you classes on how to make noodles, and the noodles that they make here are called mimi, and mimi is kind of like a sheet noodle, and mimi actually means ear, and they kind of look like pig's ears. I'll go ahead and just show you. It looks like an ear. It's a really cute name for the actual noodle. They're thick like the hoto that we had yesterday, and I kind of feel like maybe the making of the noodle is kind of the same, but the presentation and the forming of the noodle is different, whereas hoto is long strips, mimi is ears. And we got to see the lady shaping the ears, and she told me that these are the ones you're going to eat. And I don't know if that's kind of weird or awesome. You'll be eating these soon. The soup that it comes in, I've not tasted it yet, so we don't really know what's going on in the soup. We've got some fried tofu, carrots, green beans, potatoes, konnyaku probably, or daikon. Could be daikon, yeah. Daikon. And obviously the lovely, lovely mimi that we've been after. I'm just gonna go for it. Incredibly, incredibly fresh. I don't know how I'll ever go back to boxed noodles after being in Yamanashi. I don't want to. They're really incredible. And they also have this hot sauce here. You can see the lovely grits inside. And they suggest that you put this in the soup, but to me, this feels like very much of like a wholesome soup. Like, I got sick, I don't feel so well, let's just relax and have some. But I'm gonna get a little bit. This might be the most dangerous thing I've done on the trip, aside from riding with myself. This looks dangerous, doesn't it?
The sign specifically says don't use very much in the entire bowl, and you just used kind of a lot in your spoon. Hold on.
There we go. Let's get a little more in there. Definitely changes the flavor, but that might be because I put so much in. It's not as hot as you'd expect. It kind of hits like the back of the mouth, but not the throat or the tongue. Like my tongue's not on fire or anything. It's a good accent, but I think I'm gonna enjoy the soup a little while for the wholesomeness, and then maybe I'll kick myself in the butt afterwards. When we ate the hoto yesterday, I pick up my noodles and I usually put them in the spoon, and I tuck them in, and I get a little bit of soup on top of the noodles, and then I eat it so that I get like the whole experience. That's just how I eat like any noodle dish, like ramen or other things like that. Don't know if this is normal or weird or whatever, that's just the way I do it. But yesterday with those hoto, they're heavy noodles, and I guess my chopstick hand wasn't used to that, so I wasn't holding them as tightly as I needed to, so I kept dropping them. At one point, Eric looked at me, he's like, "You've got soup everywhere, like on my face, on my shirt." It's miserable. But this is a good situation. This is very, very easy to put the noodles into the soup, just like that. Ow. So apparently this is quite popular. I mean, this is delectable food with a strange thing that you never really even knew existed, but it's not really that strange now that you've eaten it. I don't know how to explain, but the mimi are awesome. Apparently they were put into a comic book at some point in time. I'm not sure what comic book or when, but you can see the building that we're in right now. And you can also see the mimi here being made by the woman. Excellent. The door was really heavy. I hurt my arm. That's all I had to say.
Earlier today we could see Mount Fuji kind of in the distance from a mountain that we were on, and we've come down in the direction of Mount Fuji. And if you've seen some of our videos in the past, you'll know that there's 5 lakes around Mount Fuji called Fujigoko, and we just popped out of this tunnel and bam, there was one of them right in front of us. And this is one of them with this beautiful view of Mount Fuji, and it's clear and it's really quite cool. It is October now, and you can just start to see that there's some snow starting to develop on the side of Mount Fuji, which I guess in a couple of weeks is going to be like that full-on cap everybody is familiar with. I really like Mount Fuji. I was asking Katie, like, what's your favorite mountain, like, ever? And she was like, Mount Rushmore, Mount Fuji, I don't know. And I think that it's easy for me, Mount Fuji, just because of how, like, iconic the shape is. Like, even when we were a long way away from it and you could see it in the distance, it's like, there's no question. It's not like, is that Mount Fuji? Maybe. It's like, no, it is. It definitely is. You can just tell because of that shape. It's just so unique looking. And like, look at this. There's nothing else around it that's anywhere near the size. It's really cool. My favorite mountain, easily.
Couldn't ask for a better day.
Couldn't ask for a better day. I woke up, I was so glad. So we have a passenger that Katie's unaware of.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And I told her to stop the car. And now, do you know who he is?
Oh shit. I saw it in the rearview mirror.
How do you get in here? He's huge. Prayer. Alright, so what are you gonna do? How are you gonna get this guy out of here?
I'm gonna pretend like he's not there.
I think you should get him out, because otherwise he's gonna fly down on you while you're driving and you're gonna have a seizure. Okay.
I'm not that scared of bugs. I just don't like the close proximity and the fact that I'm behind the wheel, and I don't want to jump out and like scream around the car. So I'm gonna get to a parking spot and then we'll sort this out.
Why don't you just, yeah.
Here we go. Okay.
Have you looked up yet?
Nope, not where we're going. Only the rearview mirror.
You know how far away a parking lot is?
Nope.
He's climbing towards you. Yeah, look at that.
You're just fucking with me. Okay, parking lot. I see the parking lot.
Okay, so maybe you should park. He just wants to be friends, man. He's just looking for some friendship.
Okay, I got a parking job right here.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
He's like brown. He's not even green.
You haven't looked at him yet, have you?
I saw him in the mirror, and he was looking at the mirror at me.
He's right here now.
He was coming after me.
I told you.
Wow. He's looking at me again. Oh, I have an idea. Don't get on that glass. Don't get on that glass. Nope, 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 nope. Come with me. Come with me.
Oh, that was a good idea. Well,
He looks like he wants out.
this is his van now.
Yeah.
Like, look at him. He just wants outside. You're right. Maybe if you can get him on the book. Let's go, dude. All right, so we got him outside. And he's just chilling. Like, this guy is just straight chilling. Look at him. He's great.
He's gonna fight you. He looks like he's ready to fight, man.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's a big fan of the camera. Or maybe he's very interested. This is a superstar. Look at him disposing. This is great.
Oh, look at the arms. He's gonna kill you. Those are his strangling arms.
No, that's his handshake arms. You shake my hand, dude. You get a handshake. See? He just wants to be friends.
I like that handshake. Okay, well, I'm gonna give him a better place to live.
I'm glad he didn't jump down on you.
That was pretty terrible. I don't know. I just don't like that feeling. After the lizard, I really just...
Which
I'm
lizard?
done. All of them.
Do you mean the one in Thailand?
I mean the one in Thailand. In the Fujigoko area, there are 3 caves, and the last time we were here, we went to a cave, and it turned out to be the Bat Cave. There are 2 other caves that we've never been to. One is the Ice Cave, and the other is the Lava Cave. We've chosen the Ice Cave because it's already cold. I mean, we might as well just freeze. So we're going into the Ice Cave, and I think we're going to leave the Lava Cave for maybe next time we come into Yamanashi. It's a good place. I can see us coming back, and we'll grab that lava cave while we're here. The last time that we went through one of these caves, the Bat Cave, we took one of our cameras and it ended up getting dropped into a puddle, and it basically just slowly died after that. So caves equal cancer for cameras. So this is a waterproof camera. We'll probably be using that inside, so you might notice a quality difference, and that's just the way it is. You gotta be safe when it comes to camera cancer. Just Like is so awesome for all these other things that you can buy at a vending machine. We're buying access to a cave. I know it's gonna get weirder in the future, but right now, this is probably one of the weirder things. Like, wanna go in a cave? Talk to a robot. You gotta strap in, dude. Gotta be prepared for everything.
And then you gotta hit the cave turnstile.
They check the number at the end of the night. Oh man, we got 2 people still in the cave. Dead. Close it up. Seriously, it's gonna be cold.
1,300 meters was covered in a thickness of 5 to 25 meters of lava.
I like the bamboo. Ah!
Watch your head.
Yeah.
いいじゃん別にやめやつ。でもこんぐらいしか食べない。ねこんぐらい。お兄ちゃん涙。
So this is the intestines of the cave. We went in this way. I'm not sure which digestive tract we went down, but I'm pretty sure maybe this way, down into the bowels of the beast. And we saw a lot of little ice things. This is an ice pond, but I didn't really see any ponds down there. You almost stepped in a pond, so maybe there was a pond. But right here, it has an ice wall, and that was actually really cool. It was like standing next to an igloo, and no Eskimos though. That's kind of disappointing. Nobody's living down there. But there was a huge ice wall down there. We were touching it and feeling it, and it was really cold down there. I'm happy to be back on top of Earth. Is that right? And yeah, so it was kind of a fast food cave. In and out, frozen, done.
I'd like to point out that 91 centimeters. I'm 200.
We took the other digestive tract?
I think so. I think we went that way.
Yeah.
At some point, 91 centimeters happened.
Yes, and I remember.
And I was like, I'm glad I'm wearing this. It's important to wear a helmet.
Always.
You're the kind of kid that should probably always wear a helmet.
Totally.
Though.
Helmets and bibs all the time.
If you had the helmet on and that bug had been above you, you'd be all right.
I wouldn't have even worried. I'd have
Yeah.
been like, let's be friends. Ish. Don't touch my shoulder.
I know I'm getting you for Christmas.
From the ice cave, we drove about maybe 10 kilometers, and we crossed a bridge going over one of the Fuji lakes. And I don't think that we did that before, so we got to drive across one of them. That was really cool. And we came up to a little cafe, and we're standing at the little cafe, and I realized that we've come here to look at Mount Fuji and the sunset, and the cafe's kind of not showing those perfectly. It's got the right smells. I smelled all these flowers, they're amazing. But it doesn't have the right sight. So we're getting our stuff to go, and we're going to head over and see the sunset and Mount Fuji and relax by the water.
We got our drinks to go, and we found a pretty good view of Fuji and the sunset.
That is all to that story. We walked 10 feet away from the cafe. On God. We're on the last leg of the trip, and we were going to go to a restaurant in Yamanashi, but we started realizing that our game plan on time wasn't actually going to allow for that, but I was still kind of going, maybe, and then we got to the restaurant, and it was closed, so we decided, whatever.
We didn't have time anyways.
We didn't have time.
Honestly, if anybody saw our Chiba video, remember the rush to get home, and then we were late, and then we yada yada yada. That sort of was what was going to happen, and now we're probably not going to be late, but it's going to be kind of close.
It's going to be close, but that's usually how we do things. Just cut it close. Fuck it.
So for dinner,
we're at Skia, which is a gyudon restaurant, which is beef on top of rice, and it looks amazing. You got some onions, you got some beef, you got some rice.
If you know what Yoshinoya is, this is ghetto Yoshinoya.
It's
kind
ghetto.
of. Yeah.
And Eric's has cheese on top with a little bit of oregano.
Yeah, I know, green
Something,
stuff.
Basil? I don't know. Green
Yeah,
stuff. Parsley?
so-
Could be parsley.
Yeah. Base of rice. And the meat is cooked kind of like sweetly. Like how do you
Oh
explain
yeah,
gyudon?
because it's got mirin, and they've cooked it in
Shoyu a little bit, sugar.
shoyu, sugar, mirin, and something
Onions.
else. And they've cooked it for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's like the tenderest meat there is in Japan.
And it's like if Japanese had a cheeseburger, this would be it. Like this is your Japanese cheeseburger.
This is the equivalent of
like
McDonald's
fast
cheeseburger.
food.
Fast food.
It's good. It's real good.
I've got kimchi. Eric is not going to be happy about that, but I'm doing it anyways. So kimchi on top,
And
gyudon on bottom, and we're off.
my cheese gyudon, they give you a Tabasco. So I have got Tabasco sauce for it. So that's kind of my kimchi. It's like American kimchi.
Yeah. Aside from that, Yamanashi was amazing. I really had a good time.
There might be Tabasco on you.
Oh man.
Kind of
There's
blew
a
up.
dangerous, it's gonna end up in my eyes. Totally,
Yeah.
I already know that's where it's going.
So Yamanashi?
Yes, Yamanashi. I don't know. I think earlier I said it wasn't stunning, but it was beautiful, and I wouldn't say that it was like some exceptional place, but if somebody told me I've got a weekend and I want to get outside of Tokyo, I'd say go to Yamanashi, relax.
Yeah. So when we went to Yamanashi years ago, and we went to the Fuji Goko, the 5 lakes around it, it was very pretty because Fuji and all the lakes and stuff are very beautiful, but I felt like the towns that were like associated around that area were kind of like kitschy and just kind of like, but the towns outside of that touristy area of Yamanashi, the places that we went to this weekend, I could not tell you the names of any of the towns, but they are much more like, it feels like rural Japan, like that image that you have in your head a little bit of rural Japan, and it's not so touristy and kitschy. It was actually pretty cool.
And looking at how we traveled around, we didn't just stay in one city. We moved around the entire prefecture, and it seemed like in every nook and cranny there was something amazing that you really didn't expect. Like doing the crafts, going and seeing the noodles, and it just tons of different things in one area that are quite close to Tokyo, or at least they're 4 hours away from Tokyo, so now we're in a rush.
It was like 2 hours if you're willing to pay for the highway, but it's really expensive. It's like 3,000 yen or something, so we're taking the slow roads.
Oh, we take the slow road.
What was your favorite Yamanashi this weekend moment?
Oh gosh, I hate this question right at the end because I feel
hard
like
to-
I'm blanking.
It's hard to think about that.
Best thing? I really, like, when we laid down for the first night next to that river, and I got back in the back and everything was so comfortable, I don't know, something just felt really like, okay, just let go. Nothing needs to happen right now, just relax.
It feels really good to get out of the city too. Like just to, like so many times we were like, look, you can see the sky. Like, that little thing is like fascinating.
And there's no internet, and there's no like, oh, could stay up and watch this, or could do this, or no, just go to bed.
Although last night we did stay up and watch Rick and Morty.
Well, it was also like 9 o'clock. We're not going to bed at 9 o'clock.
It's true. I don't know, my favorite thing, probably eating something. Like everything we ate was really fun. I like that noodle, man. That fat noodle, the broad noodle.
The noodle that just kept smacking me in the face.
Yeah, that broad noodle was really good.
Yeah, the hoto was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what else really sticks with me? This is going to be really lame, but man, that one bathroom in a convenience store.
Oh, yeah.
So clean. It was like the cleanest bathroom I've ever seen.
I called it a high-end apartment. It was so much better than our house. And our house is not bad. Like, where we live is a modern apartment.
This bathroom was just immaculate. But yeah, I think my favorite thing about this trip to Yamanashi was just the nature, being out and seeing hills and seeing Mount Fuji and seeing trees and seeing fall colors starting to appear and all that. I think that's like it was just a good weekend. It was like kind of like a little bit of stress just out of my mind, you know? I think that was it.
Bit of an unplug.
Yeah, a bit of an unplug.
Good.
It is good.
Yamanashi's good.
Yeah.
I'd totally come back.
Yeah, me too.
But I must say, as I said, it wasn't stunning. I wouldn't come back, like, I'm not driving to come back. I'm not like, oh man, there's these things I want to do. Like, Osaka, I kind of have a drive to go back to there, and I have a drive to go back to a lot of other places, but this would just be like, okay, I need a frickin' moment.
Agreed.
Yamanashi.
But we will come back. Fuji-Q Highland is there, right?
Yes, Fuji-Q Highland. But I probably wouldn't just call that Yamanashi, but it's here.
It's here.
Oh.
That's going to happen.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna scream a lot. Yes. Hey everyone, we have a Patreon page and we'd really like for you to check it out. It'll allow you to contribute to us and make these crazy adventures we've been going on continue and get even better. So we'd really love for you to follow the link and learn more about Patreon and us. Go for it. Let's adventure.